So, let's talk about weight loss surgery in Mexico. So first things first, I booked my surgery, my weight loss surgery. I got the gastric sleeve surgery. I didn't get bypass or anything like that, and I didn't get the lap band, but those are other options that you can get in Mexico. A lot of people can get weight loss surgery here in the U.S. covered by insurance. For some people, it's not hard to do. Whereas for other people, it's extremely difficult. Just a little background. I tried to get weight loss surgery here when I was probably like 21. Ooh, sorry. Thank you. Yeah, because if you don't remember my story, you can always go back to the first videos, but I was diagnosed with Cushing syndrome like when I was in grad school, and it was causing me a lot of weight gain because of a medication I was taking. And they couldn't figure that out at first, but I knew that I was getting so heavy. I was at the point where I couldn't lose it, myself. I was like once upon a time a dance major, and it was like no matter what I was doing, I was gaining weight. So I knew something was wrong. So anyway, I had looked into weight loss surgery even back then. But the problem is, every time I went to go get assessed and evaluated, everybody told me, like, well, you don't have any comorbidities. You don't have any issues doing the stress test. You just need to diet and exercise. I did physician monitored diets. I went to dietitians, and I went to weight loss clinic. And to basically do a monitored, whether it was a food diary, monitored diet, and do the scheduled weigh-ins and stuff like that. I literally have gone through that before. So if you've gone through that, I completely understand what you're like. It's one of the most frustrating experiences that I ever had to deal with. Even if you are approved for surgery, but you have to go through it, it can be very intimidating because it's like they want you to prove that you're not lying. And I'm not saying that. I guess maybe some people might want to have surgery so bad that they're making their situation seem worse. But I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to sit around and be like, hey, I need weight loss surgery just because for shits and giggles. I just want, you know what I mean? I'm just playing, I'm just pretending to be fat. No. Nobody's going to look into this because it's like a joke or something. So I feel like that process is irritating. So for anybody who's going through it, I really do understand it's irritating. So, and a lot of that process happens in the U.S. So that was one of my biggest reasons why once I learned that there was medical tourism for weight loss surgery, I looked into it right away. I wasn't actually worried about price because I was just thinking, if I can get surgery abroad and I don't have to worry about having comorbidities, like they don't care that I'm not obese and have diabetes or whatever, then that would be good for me. Because I don't have diabetes, I don't have high blood pressure, I actually have low blood pressure, I don't have high cholesterol, I don't have high triglycerides or anything on my lipid panel, I don't have any type of heart disease or cancer. I've never, you know what I mean? So for me, the status was kind of like just obese. So if anybody can relate with that, we can touch and agree. So anyway, I think it's a really, really valuable option for people who feel like they're stuck in the U.S. because I feel like I was stuck. I wasn't getting any type of help. I got referred to bariatric doctors and centers, but then it's like, well, you're going to have to pay out of pocket. Now this becomes a elective surgery, and it's like, can you see me? How is this elective? So I just feel like the U.S. can be ass backwards sometimes when it comes to different things, and it's just frustrating. So if you are experiencing anything like that, or you know somebody who's experiencing anything like that, please tell them about this video, or let them know that there's a such thing as medical tourism for weight loss surgery, and it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't mean that people are dying and blah 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 blah. I think the common stigma about anybody getting surgery out of the country is just kind of like why would you go anywhere else but the U.S. because the U.S. is the best. It's not even true. So many surgeons are double board certified and are members of American medical boards, whether it's general surgery, plastic surgery. They get trained here a lot of the time, and then they go back to their countries and practice. And sometimes for that reason, because people respect the U.S. ticket, label, name, your like stamp brand or whatever, and they won't respect, you know, your doctorate or your whatever degree you have from another country over the U.S. So because my doctor actually went to Harvard Medical School, and I couldn't believe it. I was kind of shocked that he did. So anyway, the company I went with was called MexicoBariatrics.com. There's so many to pick from. I was going to say that is not the only company. You don't have to choose that company. But that was the one I went with. And the reason I went with the company was because they have 3 doctors, and the doctors only do 3 to 4 surgeries a day, and 4 surgeries is actually a lot for them. They get a lot of patients, of course, but these doctors in particular do not do a lot of patients a day, and that was very important for me because just like with any surgery, no matter what type of surgery you're looking to get, whether it's in the U.S. or outside of the U.S., doctors that are taking a patient every 2 seconds it's never good, because you have cross-contamination and also like exhaustion of that doctor. It's more room for error on the doctor's part if they're exhausted and there's no time in between surgeries and things like that. So those are things that I looked for personally when I was researching companies and surgeons for my procedure, and I would encourage other people to do the same. A Lighter Me is another company I actually was signed up with, and Weight Loss Agents. I started with Weight Loss Agents because they had a ton of testimonials, and most of these companies have Facebook groups, so you can meet and call other people who've gotten surgery abroad, and I did that. I had looked into some of the testimonials and contacted people to ask them, like, hey, you got surgery in Mexico, can you tell me anything about it? And when I saw one lady's vlog, she made a YouTube just like I made a YouTube with Mexico, about Mexico Bariatrics. I was like, okay, I feel really solid about this no matter which one I choose. I saw another lady actually who was from A Lighter Me as well, and I think it's L-I-T-E. So A-L-I-T-E, me. A Lighter Me is another company. There was a lady who had a really good vlog about her experience from beginning to finish. So the surgery, it depends on your BMI for the price. I think base price, depending on the company and the package you get, it starts like around $3,500, and then it can be as much as probably $4,500. Like I said, it's going to depend on your BMI. Of course, the heavier you are, the more at risk you are, so they charge you a little bit more. I think the base range for BMI is, I want to say it's like probably like 36, or maybe it might even be 29 to 49. Because once you get past 50, I think that's a different category of obesity, maybe, and then they charge you a little bit more. Like, I know my company did it in 500 increments. A Lighter Me does it in 1,000. They just charge you 1,000 for the next bracket. And I think most companies are the same way. If you're lighter, I don't know if you get a discount, but there are people of all shapes and sizes who get VSG. So don't be dissuaded if you feel like you want to get weight loss surgery because you think you could use it as a tool or it would be good for you. Don't be dissuaded if you feel like you're smaller. I met a lot of people who did not look like they needed the surgery necessarily, but they told me their story and, you know, why they chose it. And it's like, you know, everybody has the right to, you know, be as healthy or just do what they want to do so they can achieve what they want to achieve, I feel like. So, because I know I got a lot of questions about that on Instagram. Somebody was asking me, and a lot of my surgery girls, like girls who are getting plastic surgery, were asking me about that. Like, hey, do you have to be overweight to get the sleeve? And I was like, actually, no, you don't. There was a girl, I just remember there were 2 girls from Alabama, but there was this one girl who was actually like not too much taller than me. And she was like, I know exactly why you're getting the sleeve. Like, she was like talking about short girl problems and the struggle to stay fit and, you know, at the right weight when you're so short, but you have the stomach of somebody who's, you know, normal height. It's kind of unfair because you have a regular appetite, but you have to curb yourself. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but if you're short, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, she had a BMI, I think, of 26, and she got the surgery, and they actually didn't even have to do incisions. They did it all through her belly button, and she told me that she was tired of the stress. She said that she just had a lot of mental anguish over always working out, watching what she ate, never eating anything she wanted to eat. She just said it was so stressful, like she had a breakdown, and she realized that she don't have to live that way anymore. She could get the sleeve, cuts her portions in half, and she just doesn't have to think about it. So some people might say that's lazy, but to be honest, I think it's actually really smart, because once you cut out emotional turmoil, a lot of things become better. Who wants to be emotionally stressed? So, but anyway, I hope that answers that question really well, because a lot of people have been asking me that, like, hey, do you have to be a certain weight, or what do you think about it? I think it's a good idea, especially if you have issues. I don't want to say issues, but if you know you have a relationship with food to where you want more food than you need, I don't think it's a bad idea at all, because there was one doll, a future doll, who had contacted me about it because she asked me if you can get plastic surgery afterwards, and I was like, oh yeah, yeah, of course you can. There's nothing that I know of that bars you from anything after you get the gastric sleeve or any type of surgery. You can get pregnant, you can do whatever you're going to do afterwards. You should be healthier, you'll lose weight, because eventually your body's going to adapt. If you have excess weight, of course that's the whole purpose of the surgery. It helps you lose your excess weight 80 to 100% within a year, and over, like, you know, 12 to 18 months. Different surgeries have a different time frame, and unfortunately I can't answer questions about lap band. I do know a lot about bypass because I've had a close friend who had that, but unfortunately I don't know too much about the lap band, but I know it's an option. There's also a new technique to where it's kind of like the lap band, but instead of doing a band around the stomach, they do a balloon, and they put it in your stomach, and it only lasts 6 months. So it's for people who are not severely, you know what I mean, overweight, but they want to lose weight, and they need that curb of, you know, appetite, or almost like you got a staple in your stomach. But the cool thing is it deflates. So once you lose your weight, you're on your program and stuff, it self-deflates, and I think it just flushes out your system. So that's something to look up to, and I'm sorry I don't remember exactly what that's called, but almost all of that is available in Mexico. So Mexico is a mecca. Just like Santo Domingo and, what is the other place? Cali, Colombia are like meccas for like the BBL, like, and you know what I mean, and like the tummy tuck and snatch surgery and stuff like that. Like, they literally have some of the best doctors in the world there. People coming from the UK, Italy, you know what I mean, the US and stuff, just to go to Dominican Republic. It's the same thing for weight loss surgery. People are flocking from all over the world to go to Mexico for weight loss surgery, and it's like quiet as it's kept. Like, I had no idea. So not to say that there aren't good surgeons in the U.S. I'm not saying that. There are. It's not a very meticulous procedure anymore. There have been a lot of advances in medical technology that make the sleeve an even easier procedure now. So I feel like people are probably being masters at the surgery easier, if that makes sense. So like, the people that I met when I got there were from all over. There were people from South America, like from Colombia, and I want to say Argentina, but I'm not entirely sure. But there were people from, like, you know, Mexico areas, and then of course people from all over the U.S. Trying to think the next thing so I don't get lost. But yeah, I told you about the price and how the price depends on BMI and then of course your company. My company did let me pay over time, so I paid a deposit just much like you would for a plastic surgery doctor. You pay a deposit and to hold your day. Like, I got to choose my day. I booked my surgery like 6 months in advance. No, I didn't. I think it might have been more like 4 months in advance. But, and I did that purposely though, because I wanted to make myself pay for it, because once you're stuck, once you pay a deposit, you don't have no choice unless you want to lose your money. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want anything to dissuade me from making this final decision to get the weight loss surgery. So my company did let me pay over time. I could pay a lot of different ways. I could use credit card, PayPal, and of course they had fees associated with it. And then I could do certified check, kind of like a money order, certified mail security, to put money on my account. Once it was paid, everything was a go. It included 2 days at the hospital. Transportation, my 2 day stay at the hospital, of course all my surgery fees and anesthesia, one all-inclusive, price for that, and it also included 1 day at the hotel. So the only thing that wasn't included really in my package was my plane tickets. That's pretty much it. Everything they did in terms of in terms of like putting me up in a space was made for me to have like a spouse or a traveling companion, which I think is the awesome thing about this sort of package. You're not there for an exuberant amount of time, so they make sure that the rooms, you're not in a shared room, you're in a private room. It is basic. Most other countries don't put a whole bunch of money into infrastructure like they do in the U.S. in terms of like making things look super fancy. It's basic. I know some dolls who've been getting like tummy tuck surgery and stuff were showing the rooms they were in and letting people know how like the rooms are very basic, so don't expect like 5-star hotel, hospital type stuff, because that's not how it is down there. But it doesn't mean the doctors aren't 5-star. That's just, it's just how it is. But anyway, and you can all go back to my vlogs because I showed my room. I showed like the soup I got at the hospital and stuff. I think Latoya took some more footage of like the lobby and stuff, like, so you can see what my room looks like in my videos if you go back. But it was like, it had a bench like bed for Latoya, or for your traveling companion, and it also had a fully reclining chair. And the hotel they did put us up in, I will say, was 5-star though. It was so super ridiculous, like classy, like you have to go watch the video. Like, it was amazeballs. Like, there was a restaurant, a spa, coffee shop, like everything was in that one hotel. Like, we didn't even have to leave. But on top of it, the hotel was across from a mall. So, and they gave us, so 2 days in the hospital, right? And then we were in the hotel one day. They gave us like food vouchers and a drink voucher for Latoya, like she could get something from the bar. So they didn't just put you in a hotel with no money. There was like food voucher for her, 3 soups for me if I needed it, and like water. Anytime we wanted water, we just called the room service. So it was a lot included. I thought it was an excellent package. It was exactly what I needed. Kind of no more, no less type of thing. Trying to think what else. Yeah, because the whole trip was kind of like 5 days. 1 day to travel down there. And we flew into San Diego, and like I said, the transportation is included. They pick you up at the airport, and then they drive you into Tijuana, Mexico, and so you drive across the border, and then, you go in the hospital, you get checked in, all that good stuff. You have your surgery. You're in the hospital for 2 days. Sorry, my phone went off. And then you're in the hotel 1 day. I think for people who get gastric bypass, they're in the hospital 3 days, just to make sure. And of course, you have nursing around the clock. You have pain meds, nausea meds, any meds you might need. They're checking on you. The only thing that I know, my company did say the staff is supposed to be completely bilingual. That wasn't exactly true. They didn't really speak too much English, but to be honest, it really wasn't a barrier because the hospital did have Wi-Fi, so we just used the Google Translating app, and it was super simple. Like, once we pulled it out, the nurses started using the app, so it was easy to communicate once you made the initiation and attempt to communicate. They were more than willing to try to communicate with us, which I thought was amazing. Latoya speaks really good Spanish amount, so when she was there, I didn't actually need a translator and app. But yeah, it was so good. Like, I mean, it seems almost too good to be true or too simple, but when I think about it in my mind, I was super apprehensive about it before, and of course I was nervous when we got there. I was nervous, just in general, and then even after surgery, you're going through post-surgery symptoms and stuff, but it was such a smooth, like, one and done, hit it, quit it type of thing. That's why I said I can't not recommend it. If you were having any issues in the U.S., you could take yourself down to Mexico so easy and find really good doctors. You don't have to go through a company if you don't want. You can book surgeries directly with your surgeon. My surgeon was Cervantes, and he actually has his own company now. I want to say he still works with Mexico Bariatrics, but in the support group, he let everybody know I'm pretty sure he has his own company because it's called Cervantes Bariatrics. And if you want his page, I can send you a screenshot so you can look him up. He is personal assistant Eduardo. He's still my patient coordinator. I emailed him the other day, and my doctor Skyped me. So my doctor is still available to me now. Like if I have questions or if I have issues, they make sure that they get in contact with you. And it was, like I said, it was a great experience. I don't have anything really bad to say about it. In the vlog, I know we talked about when we came in, how we came in super late, so that created some problems coming in. But I mean, that was such a small hiccup in the realm of like overall trip. It was good. So I highly recommend it for so many different reasons. Of course, if you're in this struggle and you need it as a tool, go for it. If you have similar health problems like I did, and I made my own way, or I'm making my own way, I'm not done yet, but I'm making my own way to the body I want, to the life I want to live, because I couldn't get the help that I needed in, I want to say like the medical infrastructure in the U.S. I made my own way. I kind of, I told myself what I was going to do for a diagnosis or whatever. I think you should go for it. For dolls who've been asking me about it in terms of what I think about it for the surgery, in terms of, because they want to make sure they maintain their tummy tuck results and stuff like that. Because when you go to get plastic surgery, to my understanding, you can't work out for like almost a year. If you already had an issue, if you had to lose weight to get to the weight that you were going to need to be for surgery, I think it's a good idea because it will help you maintain that body. You won't have to worry about gaining weight because you're eating and you're not working out. That's me personally. I think it's a really good idea because it just makes sense. Like I said, the one girl I met in Mexico, when she was talking about short girl problems, I never thought about that until me and Latoya had a really good heart-to-heart talk. But I am really short. I'm 4'9". I'm the size of a child. And I think one of my biggest struggles was trying to make sure that, you know what I mean, I'm eating portion control. But it's like I never overate. I was never an overeater. And I know that might be contrary to popular belief, but it wasn't. I didn't have an overeating problem. The only thing is, if I'm eating 2,000 calories a day and I'm only 4'9", and I'm the size of a 9-year-old, because my kids are almost taller than me, that's a problem. I can't eat that much. Not because I can't in terms of appetite, but because I'm an adult, but because my body is too small. So, I say go for it. So if you had any more questions, if I didn't answer anything good enough or something, just let me know. I know I said it in kind of a conversation format, but I'll try to put as much information I can in the description box. Okay, guys? So I hope this was informative and not too long. And I hope it was a good conversation. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.